Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Sean and today we are doing a Christmas book haul slash part I don't know what. I think part 5 of all my signed books. So let's get into it. First off, I hope you all had a good Christmas, and if you don't celebrate Christmas, I hope you had a good usual doing whatever you usually do time. Starting with some unsigned books, first we have Collected Stories by Carson McCullers. So I'm excited to give this book a chance. I'm really undecided about Carson McCullers' writing, like whether I like it or not, but I definitely want to read more of her writing. So Collected Stories by Carson McCullers is the first book. Next, also unsigned, are 3 books by Russell Banks. I have mentioned a lot on my channel recently that I absolutely love his book, The Sweet Hereafter. It was my favorite read of 2022. This book was just so beautifully written, is just phenomenally written, is just a beautiful story. So Russell Banks became a must-buy author. I had already gotten 2 signed books by Russell Banks before, so I have The Reserve as well as Affliction. Both of these are signed. But since he is a must-buy author, I also got these unsigned books, and they are The Darling, which I think is one of his newer books. The Angel on the Roof, which is a collection of short stories by him, and I think this is a pretty popular book by him as well. And finally, I got A Permanent Member of the Family, which is a short story. So I got all of the Russell Banks books at the bookstore. Okay, moving on to the signed books. First, we have Call of Duty, My Life Before, During, and After Band of Brothers by Lynn Buck Compton. So this is one of the real life Band of Brothers, and it's signed, so that's real cool. Apparently this guy actually lived and died like 15 minutes from my house. So for all I know, I actually bumped into this guy before. He died pretty recently. So anyway, I'm definitely glad I got it, and I'm interested in reading it. I saw the TV series years and years back, but only once, so I'm not a big fan. But anyway, a real life Band of Brothers guy, so I think that's real cool. Next is An Outdoor Journal by Jimmy Carter. So this is my 5th presidential autograph. I'm not too interested in reading this one because an outdoor journal, I mean, what's it do? Talk about him fishing? So I'm not really interested in that. But anyway, so it'll be a low priority read, but still, it's a presidential autograph and my 5th. So, An Outdoor Journal by Jimmy Carter. So while I am on the subject of presidential autographs, I have basically the order that they were presidents. I mean, Lyndon Baines Johnson, and then there was Richard Nixon. After him was Gerald Ford. After him was Jimmy Carter. So the one who would come next would be Ronald Reagan. I asked the bookstore owner, like, how common are Ronald Reagan's autographs? And apparently, Reagan, despite his popularity, his autographs are more rare because Reagan ultimately wound up just refusing to sign because so many people requested signatures from him that he just wound up just saying, no, I don't do autographs. The only reason he would sign things is if it was like a special event or whatever, or for a special charity or something. That is when he would sign. But otherwise, if someone just went up to him and said like, hey, can you sign my book or whatever, he would refuse. Screw you, Reagan, refusing autographs? What an asshole. Okay, the next signed book is Maya Angelou, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. So I had tried reading this book pretty recently, actually, in fact in 2022, and I hated it because this was a memoirs by Maya Angelou, and I do not like memoirs and I do not like poetry, and this is a memoirs by a poet. But now I have a signed copy of it. I had always looked for Maya Angelou autographs because, I mean, she is like America's most beloved poet, probably. She's probably America's most famous poet. So I'd always wanted her autograph, and this is her book that is off the top 1000 list, 1000 Books to Read Before You Die by James Mustich. So when I saw this, I was just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, Maya Angelou, and it's I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. So, I don't know, I may give her another try for sure. maybe trying to read some of her poetry because I've never read her poetry before. So I don't know, maybe I'll like it. But anyway, I was definitely thrilled when I found this. So Maya Angelou. Next is the first illustrated edition of The Caine Mutiny by Herman Wouk. So I do not know this book really. I have not read it. I do not think I have seen the movie, but I have heard of this title forever really. I mean, The Caine Mutiny, I just know that title. So anyway, this book apparently won a Pulitzer Prize in like 1951, and I think this edition was published in 1952. So anyway, I was just super excited when I saw this. I was like, The Caine Mutiny. So anyway, really excited I got it. Next, my Christmas present from my dad is the 40th anniversary edition of Fahrenheit 451, signed by Ray Bradbury. So anyway, when I saw this, a signed copy of Fahrenheit 451, I was just like, oh my freaking God. I mean, in terms of all-time great science fiction books, this is probably in the top 3. I don't know what may go above him, like Dune, maybe Isaac Asimov, maybe Arthur C. Clarke, I don't know. But Fahrenheit 451 would be right up there in the top 3 all-time science fiction books ever, maybe number 1. So having a signed copy of it is just awesome. What's kind of funny is I saw its 40th anniversary edition, and I was like, well, hang on, how could the autograph be real even? I mean, was Ray Bradbury even alive on the 40th anniversary of Fahrenheit 451? And so I looked it up, and apparently Ray Bradbury lived till beyond the 60th anniversary of Fahrenheit 451. So yes, he was definitely alive for the 40th. Right now, I currently have 107 signed books listed on Goodreads. That's like my Goodreads signed books shelf, 107. And a lot of people ask me when I talk about my signed books, they ask, well, what is your favorite? And I've never really known. Now, when I got this, I thought this would definitely immediately be my favorite. I mean, Fahrenheit 451 by Ray frickin' Bradbury. How cool is that? However, another book I think has jumped ahead to claim the spot of my favorite signed book of all time. And that is George R.R. Martin, Game of Thrones. So I got this book off Amazon, and I mentioned getting it to the bookstore owner who I get all my signed books from, and he was like, ooh, wow, George R.R. Martin, how much did you pay for that? $2,000? And I was like, no, much less than that. And so I told him the price, and he was like, how did you get it for that? And he asked, is it a hardcover? And I said no, and he was like, oh, well, that explains why. So paperback books are not really that expensive, but I'm not really interested in the price. To me, it is just a George R.R. Martin autograph. That is awesome. I don't buy these signed books because I have interest in selling them. I just want a signed book by the author. In fact, personally, if the book is kind of in bad shape, I would almost prefer that because that would drive down the price so I could afford it because I'm definitely not rich or anything. So anyway, A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. This is one of my favorite books of all time. It is just awesome. George R.R. Martin was like listed among my like god tier authors. I mean, there would be like J.K. Rowling, there would be J.R.R. Tolkien, there would be Stephen King, and then there would be older writers as well, like Margaret Mitchell, the author of Gone with the Wind, and then there's like John Steinbeck and all those guys. So those would be like god tier authors, and George R.R. Martin is definitely one of them. So anyway, that is it. Thank you guys for watching. I know I talk about my signed books a lot. It's just something I'm really passionate about because I just love my collection. I think it's so cool having all of these autographs. Something that all of these real famous writers, many of them dead, who can't sign anything anymore unless they're zombies, something by them is just a few feet from me. Like whenever I'm working on my books or anything, I just find that so inspirational, so motivational, that just all of these great writers, something that passed through their hands is just a few feet away from me at all times. So I know I talk about it a lot and it may sound like boasting, and I don't know if that's what I intend to do or not, but I have to tell someone. I mean, no one comes to check out my collection, so I have to tell someone. So anyway, I'm just super excited about all of my signed books. I love them so much. So I apologize for doing these videos, and there will probably be more because I'm such a sucker for signed books, but bear with me, or just don't watch the videos. I don't really care. But anyway, I hope you do like it, and I hope you enjoy watching, and comment and let me know what you think. Do you have any signed books that yours? But I don't know if I want to know that. It would just make me jealous. Don't tell me if you have any signed books. Unless you have one by Walter Moores. If anyone has a signed book by Walter Moores or knows how to get one, please, I would die for a Walter Moores autograph. He is like all-time beyond God level tier. As is J.K. Rowling. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!